we're going to read some hiker jargon. If you're like me, then you also don't know what most of this meant until you read it. This is taken from Beck Seymour and Greg Seymour's Thru-Hiking the Appalachian Trail. So here is their version of the most heard words on the trail and their meanings. 2,000 miler, a term used by the ATC to signify a thru hiker, even though the complete distance, which changes every year, is longer than 2,000 miles. ATC, the Appalachian Trail Conservancy, a nonprofit organization dedicated to the conservation of the Appalachian Trail. AT Guide, AWOL's Guide. This book. The most used guidebook on the Appalachian Trail comes in ebook, PDF, and paperback format, northbound or southbound, bound book or leaf leaf by David A. Wall Miller. Bear bag, bag used for food and anything that smells, which is hung every night out of reach of bears and other animals. Blazes. There are several different types of blazes along the Appalachian Trail, both physical blazes and metaphorical blazing. So white blaze, a 2 by 6 inch vertical rectangle painted on trees, rocks, or signposts showing the way on the Appalachian Trail. Double white blaze, 2 white blazes, one above the other, signifying an intersection or turn coming up. 2 offset white blazes indicate a turn coming up, turning in the direction of the top blaze. So if you have the one blaze here and then you have another one here, it means the trail is going to your left. Blue blaze, a 2 inch by 6 inch vertical rectangle. What is touching me? Vertical rectangle on trees signifying trails leading off of the Appalachian Trail, going to shelters, water sources, views, or bad weather routes. Yellow blazing, bypassing parts of the Appalachian Trail by road. The yellow comes from the middle yellow line of the road. Aqua blazing, bypassing parts of the Appalachian Trail by canoe, boat, or kayak, typically through the Shenandoah National Park section of the AT. Deli blazing, one who tries to hit all of the delis, especially in New Jersey and New York along the Appalachian Trail. There's so many blazes. Green blazing, one who smokes marijuana, their way up the trail having frequent safety meetings with fellow green blazers. Pink blazing, a male thru-hiker trying to catch up with a female thru-hiker by clues left in the shelter, trail logs/journals. Banana blazing, a female thru-hiker trying to catch up with a male thru-hiker by clues left in the shelter, trail logs/journals. Silk blazing, being the first hiker on the trail in the early morning usually means you are clearing up all the silk, spider webs, from the trail. Blowdown, a tree or limb that has fallen across the trail. Bounce box, a box that you use and keep sending ahead from post office to post office. Might contain a large bottle of painkillers, etc., that you only want to carry a small amount of on the trail. You take a handful for your next days out in the woods and send the large heavy bottle forward. Bubble, a large number of hikers together for a period of time, usually starting and ending at the same campsites each night or slightly staggered. Buff, a soft material similar to a bandana but sewn together so it is tubular. Can be worn in a multitude of ways on the head, around the neck, or around the wrist. Protects from sun, absorbs sweat, and covers ear in cold weather. Cowboy camping, camping without a shelter over you so you are exposed to the night sky. Day hiker, a person who is hiking just for the day. Embrace the suck. You will hear this almost daily. It means that some days absolutely suck. With rain, heat, body aches, etc., you need to embrace the things that get through the day. Flip-flop, a hike that begins in one direction then at some point changes direction. i.e., hiker starts in the middle at Harpers Ferry, West Virginia, and goes north to Katahdin, Maine. Then flips back to Harpers Ferry and goes south to Springer Mountain, Georgia. Even if someone starts out northbound or southbound, they can always flip. An example of a common strategy is for the northbound hiker to flip up to Katahdin in the summer. This provides for cooler weather when naturally they would be going through New Jersey and New York. Two states that can be extremely hot and humid. Gap, a low spot along the trail, usually going through a parking lot or crossing a road. Gut hooks, the most used apps for cell phones or the entire Appalachian Trail, runs on GPS and does not need cell data. We used it while our phones were in airplane mode. Harpers Ferry, the psychological and traditional halfway point in West Virginia, where the Appalachian Trail Conservancy is located. Not the actual halfway point, as this changes every year, but close to it. Hiker box, a box or container at hostels, hotels, and places in town where hikers can donate unwanted items, food, clothing, gear, and other hikers can take from it freely. Hiker midnight, typically around 9 p.m., an etiquette observed by being quiet and dimming the lights. Hiker trash, an affectionate term used to describe long-distance hikers who become so accustomed to the simple life on the trail that they exhibit the sometimes socially unacceptable habits associated with it, i.e., doing laundry by hand in the hotel bathtub, not showering for days, and smelling like it, growing a full and untrimmed beard, finding unwrapped candy on the trail and eating it because they're too hungry to care about where it came from. Hiker hunger refers to the more than usual hunger of hikers, generally lasting for most of a thru hike, since hikers burn so many calories each day. Hostel, an establishment along the trail that has bunks, showers, laundry, resupply, and mail drop options for hikers. A hostel will sometimes have private rooms as well. Hut. In the White Mountains of New Hampshire, there are huts where any hiker can make reservations to stay, usually pricey for thru hikers. Price includes dinner and breakfast. Thru hikers can often work for stay at the huts, though that means sleeping on the floor of the dining hall with people walking by all night to visit the restroom. HYOH, hike your own hike, a term said to fellow thru hikers often, meaning hike the AT the way you want to, and don't necessarily do what everyone else does. Key swap, a way of thru hiking the Appalachian Trail that involves two people and a car. Example, each day hiker 1 starts out at the day's trail section from the south. Hiker 2 then drives to the north end of the section, parks the car at the trailhead, and starts walking south. When they meet in the middle, hiker 2 hands the car keys to hiker 1. When hiker 1 gets to the car at north end of section, he drives to the south end of section to pick up hiker 2. Reasons for this. Both hikers can carry day packs, they have a car to use in the evenings for going into town or to run errands, and most likely they will be able to sleep in the back of the car or truck. Note, we met a thru hiker who did his own type of key swap with 2 vehicles and just himself. He had a motorcycle and a truck. See if you can figure it out. Lash, long-ass section hiker. A section hiker who does long sections of the trail at a time. And I will interject to say I don't think there's an official definition of this between just like doing a normal section hike. LNT, leave no trace. A list of principles that ask hikers to pass through the trail as though you weren't even there. Don't leave any garbage, pick up after yourself, don't harm nature. Mail drop, a method of organized resupply while hiking. This method usually requires someone from home mailing packages to you according to your schedule, so you don't have to shop for groceries. Mouse hanger, usually seen in shelters, a cord hanging from the ceiling through a tin can with a small stick tied to the end for hikers to hang their backpacks so mice cannot get to them. Mount Katahdin, the northern terminus of the Appalachian Trail located in Maine. Nero, short for nearly zero. You hike a small amount of miles that day, but take the rest of the day off. Night hiking, hiking at night with a headlamp. NOBO, northbound or northbounder. A hiker traveling north from Springer Mountain, Georgia to Mount Katahdin, Maine. P-rag, what some women use to dry off after urinating in the woods, usually in the form of a cotton bandana hung from the back of the pack. The sunshine dries and bleaches the bandana, leaving it with no scent, and it can be thrown in the wash. Privy, an outhouse in the woods for human waste. These will vary from bearable to you're better off going in the woods. PUDS, pointless ups and downs, meaning the trail will go up in elevation, then down, then up again, then down again, and repeat over and over. Hikers often feel frustrated at working so hard to go up, then to come down, then have to go up again. Purist, a hiker wants to pass every single white blaze. Resupply, to obtain more food for the next section of the trail you'll be hiking. Ridge runner, most likely found in high-use areas of the trail, an employee of the ATC or trail maintaining club who educates hikers and enforces regulations. Also performs trail and shelter maintenance. Section hiker, one who hikes the Appalachian Trail in sections, taking more than 12 months to complete the whole trail. Shelter, 1. Your own personal place you sleep in each night, could be tent or hammock. 2. On the trail, a 3-sided structure built with a roof, the 4th side being open to the elements, usually near a water source in a privy, sometimes called a lean-to. Shuttle, a ride to town or to a trailhead, sometimes for a fee, sometimes included with a hostel stay. Slack packing, simply put, hiking with only those things you need for the day, allowing you to carry a much smaller backpack. This can be accomplished in multiple ways. Someone drops you off in the morning on the trail and picks you up at night. Someone drops you off in the morning and you end your hike that day at their hostel. Someone drops you at Trailhead in the morning and meets you at end of day with your pack. The point is you have help. So you only need to carry a small day pack with water and snacks instead of a fully weighted backpack. SOBO, southbound or southbounder, a hiker traveling from Mount Katahdin, Maine to Springer Mountain, Georgia. Springer Mountain, the southern terminus of the Appalachian Trail located in Georgia. Stealth camping, a campsite that has been camped at before. Flat areas of land for tents, usually containing a fire pit and logs, but is not in the guidebook. Also sometimes used as a term for camping illegally. Style, steps that hikers take over a fence but livestock cannot use. Switchback, a zigzag trail pattern of going up a mountain instead of going straight up. Usually made to prevent erosion, but is helpful for hikers as well. Tarp, a simple piece of tent-like fabric with no door or floor. Tent platform, a raised platform built of wood for tents to prevent erosion in that area of the woods. Thru-Hike, a hike or hiker of the entire Appalachian Trail within one 12-month period. Trail angel, someone who provides unexpected help, food, or shelter to a hiker at no cost. Trail log or register, a notebook usually found in shelters where thru-hikers can write their thoughts or messages to other hikers, and this is where clues are found for pink or banana blazing. Trail magic, unexpected food or help at no cost, most welcome by thru-hikers. Trail name, a nickname used by a hiker. Most all section and thru-hikers have trail names. Hikers always refer to each other by trail names. Trail town, towns easily accessible from the Appalachian Trail, either right off the trail or a short walk or hitchhike away. Tree line, high point of a mountain where trees stop growing due to the high elevation and climate. Turnstile, similar to a stile but a zigzagging pattern structure, usually with a gate that hikers can go through but livestock cannot. Ultralight, a style of hiking that focuses on the lightest gear possible. Vitamin I, ibuprofen. Widowmaker, a tree or limb that is dead but is still hanging above and can fall at any moment on your tent in the middle of the night. If it fell on a married person tent, it could literally make someone a widow. Work for stay. Working for lodging instead of paying for it usually means doing any odd jobs that the owner agrees for you to do in lieu of paying for your stay. Typically done at hostels and the White Mountain huts. Yo-Yoing, term used to describe completing a thru-hike and then turning around and completing it again in the other direction. Yoging, an act of letting food or help be offered to a thru-hiker without actually asking for it. For example, in a convenience store, you are next to a person who came in with a car, and you talk loudly to your hiker friend about wishing you could get a lift back to the trail, hoping the person with the car offers you a ride. 0. A day off from hiking, literally meaning 0 miles hiked that day. And there's some definition in Chris Cage's How to Hike the Appalachian Trail that the other book did not cover. I think it's mostly like landscape descriptors, but I'm going to read those as well. AMC, Appalachian Mountain Club, organization in charge of the hut system and the whites. Alpine Zone, also known as above the tree line, the high elevation areas where trees are unable to grow. Balds, barren areas on many mountain tops. Their existence has many theories. Base weight, total pack weight minus consumables, food, water, etc. equals base weight. Bivy, I'm going to say this wrong, short for bivouac, a mini tent-like shelter generally used in emergencies, mountaineering, or ultralight backpacking. Bladder, or water reservoir, small collapsible water container. Bluff, steep cliff. Bushwhacking, hiking off the trail, done because the trail is poorly marked, for the adventure of it, or because you are lost. Cache, a hiding place, typically where you or a trail angel might stash food and other goodies. Cameling up, drinking as much water as possible at a water source to prevent carrying it. Cairn, a pile of rocks or stones used to mark the trail, used in place of blazes where there are no trees. Cat hole, a hole dug for human waste, ideally at least 6 inches deep and at least 200 feet away from a water source. Contour lines, lines used on a topographical map to display variations in elevation. Cowboy Coffee, mixing water with the raw, unfiltered coffee grounds. Crampons, a metal frame used on boots for traction in snowy and icy conditions. Cuban fiber, a high-performance fabric used as an ultralight material for some tents and bags. DEET, ingredient used in insect repellents, aka ditholamine, I don't know. Dromedary bag, a larger collapsible water container. Drop-in trowel, process of pulling down your pants or trousers, generally shouted as a warning that you are about to change clothes. False summit, the sense that you are approaching the summit and then realize it's only a small plateau teaser. FKT, fastest known time, the speed record held for completing the Appalachian Trail, either supported or unsupported. Footprint, a separate floor of your tent used as a ground cloth or additional protective barrier. Gaiters, leggings used to protect your shins and ankles from thick brush or prevent water from draining onto your feet. Gap, the low spot on a ridgeline in between mountains. GORP, granola oats, raisins, and peanuts, or good old raisins and peanuts. I just call it trail mix. Green tunnel, another term for the Appalachian Trail, referring to the heavily wooded green forest that the trail snakes through. Guy lines, the cord or rope used to tie down the tent or tarp. Kindlin, small pile firewood used to ignite the fire. Knob, small mountain or rounded hill. Pocket rocket, a trademark name for an MSR stove, has become a generic term for a small foldable canister stovetop. Post holing, the process of stepping in snow and leaving a hole. Scramble, a section of the trail too steep or rocky to walk, forcing a hands and knees scramble. Townie, day hikers, bathers, or people from town. Trailhead, where a section of trail begins, usually at a road crossing or somewhere accessible by vehicle. Treeing a bear, the act of surprising a bear and it sliding down a tree. Triple Crown, the 3 major USA hiking trails, the Appalachian Trail, the Pacific Crest Trail, the Continental Divide Trail. One who completes all 3 is known as a Triple Crowner. UL, ultralight, minimalist, and lightweight, backpack mentality. Vestibule, a small porch of a tent. Web walking, the process of taking the lead for the group when walking through the fresh spider webs. And that is all the definitions I have for now. If there's one you know that I haven't already said, feel free to leave a comment down below. Thanks for listening.